Yes, sis, it is a big change, and I don't mind you asking. I put myself out there, so I'm open to everything, right? And I'm much aware. See if my shoe will balance my camera. I'm very much aware of my choice to put my life out there, right? So by all means, especially if we're healing and growing. And I also appreciate you for reaching out to me personally and checking on me, because you understand, how this can move. I'm skilled in trauma compartmentalizing. Now, compartmentalizing, I will say trauma doesn't spark. Everything that trauma sparks doesn't necessarily spark a negative. I feel the ability to compartmentalize has helped me and hurt me. But in this respect, I'm able to take emotion out of it, and I'm able to move into logic. Trauma helps you move in logical brain, because the reason trauma was caused, and this is just coming to me, so it's very raw, but the reason trauma was caused is because there was an expected outcome or some sort of expectation, which would be your feminine energy. But when we start moving into our masculine energy and our logical brain, then we understand that what's going on isn't something for us to be emotionally involved in, because the emotion of it all is where the trauma comes from, the disappointment comes from. What my husband is experiencing isn't anything that I'm surprised of. When I experienced my ego death, or whatever you want to call it, I started crying. My earlier content where I'm talking about my family and my parent relationship and my sibling relationships and healing through all those things, I'm just sitting in my bathroom crying. And so my ego death, or my awakening, to be able to move into higher consciousness, manifested in tears. For my husband, it's manifesting in violent outbursts and just flat out disrespect. It's because he is being confronted with himself. And what most black men, they have this love-hate relationship with black women. Why? Because they love and hate their mother. Their mother was their first lover as well as their first tormentor. How can you love your tormentor? It's Stockholm Syndrome. I told Bailey she has Stockholm Syndrome. She loves her abuser. So all of this time, my husband has been okay with my abuse, because my abuse hid his abuse. My abuse hid his self-loathing. My abuse was able to make him be okay with how he functions and operates. And yes, I'm talking in terms of me and my husband, but I'm talking about us as a people. I'm studying us. So in studying us, I'm able to move from the emotional space of, oh my God, this is happening to me, and I'm able to go into logical brain, and I'm actually able to see what's happening. And now that I'm no longer the problem in my husband's life, he has to say, okay, then what's the problem? And instead of coming to the space of identifying himself as the problem and healing and saying that I am good, I'm perfect, whatever his language is, I'm not saying that's his language, I'm just saying that's my voice when I mock him. I'm not mocking him, but that's my version of him. But, he has to deal with himself. And he's still blaming me. And I'm like, yo, I haven't even talked to you. So now we're talking about the separation. I haven't even talked to you in a couple of days, and I chose to leave. I chose to pack myself up and my dog, grab the dog bed, come on, Alfalfa, and went over to Bailey's room. And I've been sleeping in Bailey's room, and I will remain in Bailey's room until he has a conversation with me, becomes the man that he needs to be for me, and invite me back into his room. And I know he's sitting there waiting for me to come back on my own, which is not the energy that I expect my husband to move into. At some point, my husband needs to take control of his house instead of allowing his house to control him. So he did not initiate the separation, I did. So what is my desired outcome? My desired outcome is for my husband to deal with himself, to heal himself, to do the work on himself. I have removed myself, so he cannot blame me. I'm physically gone. You can't blame me. When he walks into the room, I left the room. Last night, I actually stayed in the room and watched a little bit of Transformers with him, walked around naked in front of him, showing him I'm available to you if you choose. And he's not picking up on any of these nonverbal cues for whatever reason. And I'll continue to give him nonverbal cues, but I'm going to stand my ground. I am not going to relent. Because if I relent, we go back into the old energy. You have to understand, feminine energy isn't always docile. I learned this from a 20-something-year-old. Feminine energy isn't always docile. Love doesn't always feel good. So when I completely remove myself from my husband energetically to break the cycle of him treating me however he treats me and me still being there and him being okay, that broke him. That broke him from his reality. You don't have access to me treating me the way that you treat me. No more. And he went crazy. And now we're in the energetic space where you can experience me energetically, but you don't experience me emotionally, because you still don't know how to reflect back to yourself. You think that all your problems, he literally told me I'm trying to kill him with stress. I'm trying to kill him with stress. I don't even talk to you, nigga. What the fuck you talking about? I'm trying to kill you with stress. You're killing yourself with stress. Everything that's happening to your life, we just read Deuteronomy today. God will get your attention. And if you're constantly looking outside of yourself and thinking all these things outside of yourself, attacking the people most closest to you, it's my kid's fault, it's my spouse's fault, if they would just do what I want them to do, or if they would just leave me alone. No, that's not how you heal. Anything that bothers you is a space of a healing point, because you need to be okay and with your ability to go with the flow. So, yeah. What do I want to happen next? I want my husband to get his life back, and I want us back. He truly is my best. I can say that in this space today. This is an energetic, emotional roller coaster. When I recorded that video that day, I didn't give a fuck. Like, every other day it's different. This man treats me so bad, And he doesn't know how to treat me good. And he's like, I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to treat you. Yeah, you gotta learn. My whole motherboard reprogrammed. Everything that worked for me before, you press that same button now and you'll get a completely different reaction from me. So my husband has to see me as a completely new woman. It may be removing myself physically from him, where he can no longer see me as adversity. He could do the work with himself to where he'll see himself as a new being, and he'll see his ability to change and his ability to grow and his ability to reprogram himself. And then he'll look at me with empathy and be like, oh, okay, I get it. And then he can appreciate me. But he got until God allows me to enter the land of milk and honey. And everyone ain't going, and I'm okay with that. He can choose. Honestly, what I think potentially will happen is we will separate. He'll be able to truly be free of me and now cannot blame me and has to deal with him and see that I actually was loving him to his highest potential. And I'll welcome him back if I'm still available.